Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to give a TTRPG field report on Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. All right, so first of all, let me explain my relationship to Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. I absolutely love that game because it literally lists Gary Gygax on the cover of the book and on page 2 of the actual text of the book. I love that, right? And it was created by Matt Forbecks, who actually edited Gary Gygax and worked closely with him. So this is coming. So I believe that Marvel Multiverse role-playing game it enjoys the legacy of Gary Gygax, in my humble opinion. And it literally lived. Well, I don't need to say. Well, yeah, just go look at the book. You'll see his name all over it, literally all over it, right? So there we go. Okay. So here is my field report. So one, I am a huge book buff. I love physical books, right? I also love PDFs and I love electronic books. I've become a huge fan of D&D Beyond. I've done a 180-degree turn on D&D Beyond. I absolutely love D&D Beyond. I use it constantly. And honestly, I have to say, at this point, I'm using D&D Beyond for reading canon Dungeons and Dragons hardbacks more than physical books. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of D&D Beyond. But I do absolutely love physical books, and I have a pretty considerable library. I have multiple libraries, actually. I have libraries of of tabletop role-playing games, and I have libraries of fiction books, and then I have a library of off-size tabletop role-playing game books. Literally have 3 physical libraries, right? So different sections of my house. I absolutely love physical books, right? So Marvel Multiverse role-playing game came out in 2023. It was a smash. Actually, I believe it was an incredibly successful execution on the rule book. I love it. There's many things I like it. However, I went to a Second and Charles. Now, if you don't know what a Second and Charles is, Second and Charles is the most it's a massively successful used bookstore. I love it. Like, it is the best, right? And it's a chain. It's a national chain. It is a national chain used bookstore. I love that even exists. And I think it's the only one. I think it's the only national chain of used books, right? So I went there and I was shocked, right? So I found the D&D section. There's a big section of all the brand new books of Dungeons and Dragons. Now, Second and Charles does sell new books, but they have large sections of used books, and they actually buy used books. So they are a used bookstore, okay? Even though they sell new stuff. But the reality is a lot of used bookstores sell new books, so that doesn't disqualify them from being a used bookstore. So there was a huge Dungeons and Dragons section. And then I went to, and I had to ask, because there's so many books in these sections of Charles are huge. And so I went to the Second and Charles employees and I said, I need the tabletop role-playing game section that is not Dungeons and Dragons, right? And they're like, sure, no problem. And they took me over. Now, there was Dungeons and Dragons there. It was all 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st edition. Okay, great, no problem. Right, that's exactly where it should be, because everything on the main D&D table, which was way up in the front, right? Like, all the new stuff was prominently, literally 30 feet from the door, right? So D&D is a major seller for Dungeons and Dragons, and it had a huge section right up in the front, like a whole table to itself, right, near the entrance door, right? But the used and 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st books, those were way back, right? With all the other tabletop role-playing game books, right? Now, this is fascinating. Okay, now I'll give you a quick, the point is to talk about the Marvel Multiverse role-playing, but I'll give you a quick update. The only books on the shelf were books from 3rd edition, just books from 3rd edition. No books from 2nd, no books from 1st, no books from 4th. Just 2nd edition, but just 3rd edition, but lots of them. Lots of D&D 3rd edition, right? No less than like 20, 30 books, right? Then Shadowrun was there, just a tiny bit, maybe 1 or 2 books, right? Pathfinder was there. Actually, not Path. Yes, Pathfinder was there. Starfinder was well represented there. All used. Okay. And then and Malifaux. They have an Out of the Breach role-playing game, and that was there. Can you believe that? That was pretty wild. I was shocked to see that, right? That really, really shocked to see that, right? So Malifaux was there, and that's it. There was no other OSR or indie. I was shocked, right? But what really shocked me, and this is the entire point of this video, is there were 12 Marvel Multiverse role-playing game books, all there, all in extremely good condition, all on the same shelf, all for $25 a piece, which is half of what they sold for 1 year ago. So that means that a lot of people got that book and then sold it off. Now, I don't think that's because it was a bad edition of the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. I think people cannot drag people to any OSR or indie tabletop role-playing game. If it's not D&D, the world doesn't want to touch it. It's just the way it is, right? And so I think this is bad news for the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. I think a ton of people, I think not a lot of people tried it, and like a good number of them, I would say 25% to 50%, in my humble opinion, returned the book, like sold the books off or traded them in or returned them, right? That breaks my heart. That is not a good sign overall for Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. And it's really sad too, because Disney actually went out of their way to create this game and actually distributed on their own. Like, Disney distributed this book. That's astounding. Now, they did it under the Marvel banner, but Disney owns Marvel, right? So that's incredible. So I was really shocked by this. I was really surprised by this. And I just wanted to give you the news. I'm not 100%. I just told you what I think. I really would love to hear what you think. What do you think that means? That there were more copies of Marvel Multiverse role-playing on the shelf than any other game other than D&D. Literally, like a dozen of them. And no other game had even 2 or 3 of their core rulebooks on a shelf. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on the current states of Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. I'd really like to hear your take. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.